Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to Adobe Live. How's everybody doing out there in the chat? I hope you folks are having a great morning so far, or afternoon or evening. Time appropriate salutations inserted right here, because I know we got a lot of awesome international folks. My name is Voodoo Val, and I'm going to be your host for this epic illustration segment. And I am joined again by my new best friend, Jess. Jess, how are you? Just
there's really nowhere else I'd want to be right now. So maybe a hammock on a deserted island, but we're talking about like really high standards.
As long as that deserted island has like a vending machine and some video games, right?
Like we're talking about like a full service restaurant.
Okay, all right. Yeah. So this is a deserted island in that it's super luxury, but like only you get to go there.
Like I told you, very high standards.
Okay.
Very high standards.
Bougie deserted island, which we are not playing. All right. Welcome back, everyone. As I said, we are Voodoo Val and Jess, and we are going to jump into a little bit about Jess, who she is, where she's from, what kind of pizza she loves, in just a moment. But first, I would love to sort of give you guys the rundown on what you can expect and what we are doing here today. So if you've been kind of watching the channel, the shows that we've had planned for today already, then you kind of know the drill. But if you are just tuning in, maybe if you're new here to Adobe Live, first of all, if you are over on the YouTube, please come over to behance.net/live, because that is where Jess and I are going to be reading the chat. We want to get to know you. We want to meet you. We want to talk to you. We want to answer your questions. And that is the chat where you will have to be if you would like to kind of converse with us. So please come over, because we want to see you. I see Cody. I see Brittany. Cody Bear. Cody Bear is we stand Cody Bear in this chat. We're super excited.
Yes.
Yeah, super strongly, because we love her. Annika is here, Azad, Gareth, Sandy, Ferry, welcome in everybody. Jack Watson, the one and only, it's good to see you. Ryan Marsh is here. So excited. So thank you folks for being here. Also, we have, as I said, there's a lot of different streams and things that kind of happen here on Adobe Live. So just before us, we actually had the Photoshop Daily Creative Challenge with Kathleen. They are replays, so if you missed the challenges that were happening previously, you can catch them again every weekday from 9 a.m. to 9:30 a.m. Pacific time. And then right after us, we are going to have the Illustrator Daily Creative Challenge. And it's pretty awesome. If you've never checked out the challenges, please do. It's a fabulous way to scrub up on your design skills, to learn new things, or if you're a beginner in these programs, maybe you've never opened them up before, or you've tried and maybe struggled a little bit, this is an excellent free opportunity to get some cool design help, to get some training, and also to join the Discord, where you can actually be mentored by people, ask questions and everything, and get the help you need to start creating the designs you are passionate about. So please check that out. But now, without further ado, Jess, who are you? Where you're from? What do you do? And what's your favorite flavor of pizza?
Hi, I am Jess Telmanik. I am a human. I believe. So Earthling.
I
think so far.
It's possible. Yeah.
So far. We'll see how that works out. I am a multidisciplinary artist and designer. Freelance. I do a lot of freelance graphic design. In the last 2 years, I've been getting more into illustration. I've been able to do some really fun things, especially in conjunction with Adobe this last year.
Hey.
Anybody out there, I meant to mention this yesterday, and I really wanted to bring it up today. If you haven't applied for the Adobe Community Fund, go check it out. It is an amazing opportunity. There are multiple ways to apply. Go do it. What I'm actually pulling up on my screen was one I did last year, and this was taking Illustrator and gradients to the max. We are not going that far today, but it's the inspiration. This took a lot of time.
Let's see it. Oof.
So we have, this was a very extensive case study that I put together for it, but there's some screenshots in there. I invite you to jump onto Behance and kind of look deeper, because it was one of the pieces I really dived into and made it a little personal.
Nice.
I also didn't want to forget and just tell everyone that joined yesterday and joined today and watches on the replay, please, thank you. Thank you for being here. I appreciate you. I appreciate your love and support. I hope you get something out of today as well.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think your final question that I can't forget is pizza.
Yeah, pizza. What kind of pizza do you like?
I am kind of like, I'm a pepperoni and cheese.
Yeah, okay.
But he's my client now, but many years ago I bartended for him, and it's a restaurant down in Naples, Florida. He'd put honey on the pizza. So I got to do a shout out to Osteria Tulia. It is a thing. But you do drizzle a little bit of honey on the pizza. You could get hot honey. Hot honey is a little bit better.
Hot honey.
So I leave this up to my partner. He makes it, and it's perfect, like with pepperoni and the cheese, and like maybe a little spinach, some basil, a little drizzle, honey. Yeah. But as long as there's lots of cheese and pepperoni,
you got it.
I'm happy. Yeah.
Right.
I'm going to need pizza today, Val.
Yeah, I know. I'm sorry. So just like my favorite ice cream is just like plain vanilla ice cream. I just like a nice cheese pepperoni.
I get that.
Or not a cheese pepperoni. I like a nice cheese pizza. I like a cheese pepperoni, Yeah, I like a cheese pizza. But the thing is, you can dress up a cheese pizza. You can put meat on it. You can put veggies on it. You can put it in a tuxedo if you want. You can dress it up in anything. Your face. Your face.
Now I'm like, all right, I'm picturing a block of cheese in a tuxedo.
Your facial expression was like, I just caught you off guard and you're a little perturbed about it.
No, not disturbed. That was my thinking face.
Oh, okay.
That was me going like, but what would that look like?
Very dapper. All right. So what are we going to be illustrating today? What are we working on? Why don't you take us through it?
We are an Adobe Illustrator on the iPad today. And for any all right.
Yeah. Why don't we what we're going to do is we're going to pop over maybe and chat with you guys for just a couple of moments, because we are going to refresh Jess's screen just for a second. So, but I feel like that's fine, because we will be getting into art soon, but we have like so much other stuff that we can talk about. For example, the Bacon Jam shirt that came through yesterday. Oh, we'll be right back. Okay. Sorry, folks. We will be back in just a moment. All right. We'll be right back. And we are back, and Cody's coming in clutch with the onion jam. And I still don't know how to feel about that. I'm very conflicted, because I adore Cody Bear, but the onion jam is just getting to me. Champagne strawberry jam, I think Jareth is winning. I think Jareth is definitely winning. But tell us about this illustration, because we had so much fun yesterday going through all of this stuff. And it was like, if you missed yesterday, it was a lot of shenanigans. It was a lot of pro tips in Illustrator for iPad. And it was a lot of just saying, maybe I'll do this. And me going, oh my gosh. So it was fun. But yeah, why don't you catch us up and let us know what we're working on today.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Did realize the error. Val, keep me up to date on the chat today, because I'm not going to be able to watch it. So anybody that says hi, I miss anything, thank you for being here.
Ryan is saying the Adobe gods obviously disapproved on the bacon jam and shut down the stream. You Ryan, might be right.
No. How dare we speak of bacon Illy like that?
I know.
All right. So hi, everybody. If you missed it yesterday, I'm showing currently on my screen the sketch. This is kind of the overall concept that came behind, and it comes from the thought of self-evolution. We all go through a lot of things. We have seasons in our life. We have good and bad, and it's all about leveling up to kind of be the best you that we can be. Mm-hmm. So we are playing around with gradients. That is kind of our layout that we're going to go with. And I'm going to jump back into this and kind of just go. I would love to know how everybody in the chat is doing today, though. Tell me something good. Well. Tell me something good.
We've got the jams coming in. We got strawberry jam coming in, huckleberry jam coming in. Norsh wants to know what we think about a good old traffic jam, and I. Hats off to you, sir. That's pretty clever.
I'm going to be the Adobe Live jam girl.
Yeah,
like that's. I'm cool with that. That's cool.
You mean the creative jam girl?
Ooh, that is a thing too.
A good chuckle for you there. Okay.
Our fake laughs are horrible. We shouldn't do that ever again.
We should not do this. Annika says, I love the nebula gradients in the back. I also am digging the nebula gradients. Ryan is saying pump up the jam. And Ryan, you are fast becoming one of my favorite people. Cody is saying, how about a jam session? And ooh. I feel like we've created monsters today.
It's all right, because we're all going to remember July 2021 as the summer of jam.
The Summer of Jam. That sounds like a band tour. Can we get a band t-shirt? The Summer of Jam. Mm-hmm.
Where's our musicians? I know there's some out there. I'm not playing it on my ukulele, so like somebody needs to make us like a theme song.
I'm sort of a musician. I played the flute and the alto saxophone for many years.
Really?
Yeah. But if you asked me to do it now, I don't even know if I could produce a quality sound. It's been a while. But I was very Lisa Simpson for a long time. It was pretty cool. I had my little afro and I was just I was the sax gal. So
I feel it.
Yeah, it was definitely awesome. Oh my gosh, Mandark laugh, close enough. What's up, Annika? Bliss, it's good to see you. The Summer of Jams. Yes, I'm going to need a band poster and I'm going to need a band t-shirt. That is your surprise challenge for the day. Because we got t-shirt designs yesterday for the jam. And that's, I feel like you guys could do it. What is everybody working on today too? Because we're kind of diving into what we were doing yesterday. It looks like we're coming in with this ribbon and yesterday. So we were kind of experimenting with the blob brush, was it? And the eraser brush. And we have made like this really beautiful kind of swirling shape, but it didn't really work the same with the gradients as you intended.
Sometimes things just don't work, so you got to figure out another way to go about it. So we're jumping back to the pencil tool. Anybody that especially does lettering, like the blob tool, you're gonna love. Like, it's doing all this. So I'm working on my little swirly ribbon spiel.
I love it.
I just realized I didn't have my outline. So where did we go? There we are.
So you've got you're adding pieces of this together. So I assume that you're going to be using the gradients to kind of color different portions of this. Yes. Gotcha. I'm loving this right now.
Thank you.
It's really cool.
And I was gonna say, I just put something I didn't want it where I didn't want it to be. So we're trying to find it. There you are. So you can select and move layers to other groups, which is what we're doing right there. Because I'm like, you're not supposed to be there. I didn't want you there. Why did you go there?
You do not have permission to reside in this jurisdiction, Layer. You're going to need to vacate the premises.
For me, it's more like, you just be more happier here. You just go over here.
You would just be so much more comfortable up here where I wanted you to be in the first place.
This is just a nicer place for you to be. Trust me on that. So we're going to do some little rainbow ribbon gradients.
Gareth, so is it Jareth or Gareth? Because I feel like I've said it
GIF or GIF. Yes, that's how we remember.
Listen, Jess.
Listen, Jess.
I just want to make sure I'm pronouncing your name right, but I imagine that not many people know what you're talking about in the chat. He says he's doing a Skeksis drawing. And I believe you're referring to the Skeksis from the Dark Crystal, which is a movie very near and dear to my heart. The Dark Crystal is incredible. It is a Jim Henson's film, and it's like puppets and stuff, but it's like a really cool story about with like magic and the end of the world and all kinds of crazy wild heroes and excellent side characters. It's an adventure. It's kind of like the Never Ending Story. I would say it's like from that same era. A wealth of inspiration for you artists out there. Anybody who likes doing like fantasy art and stuff. And the Skeksis are like these giant beaked, like they're bird
creepy
creatures. Yeah,
they're creepy.
They're super cool and they make weird little noises. It's cool. So I would love to see the Skeksis painting or whatever it is that you're working on. Anything Skeksis involved, please send it to me. Cody is working on sending me a jar of onion jam, and if you weren't a mod, you would be banned. You would be banned. Norsh is working on the hashtag 5 summer things challenge. I love to see it. Laura's working on brand strategy and placing Facebook ads. Bliss is working on some pixel art, adding a grid on top of my pixel art so it looks like tiles instead of regular old pixel art. I love it. Let's see.
Val, I did have 2 fun facts to go back to the Dark Crystal real quick.
Oh, please.
Okay. So fact number 1, many years ago in Pittsburgh, I worked at the Children's Museum, and they had some of the actual puppets. They had a display from Dark Crystal.
Oh my God.
Really creepy room to go in after close.
Oh, definitely. 100%. Because that is it's like the entire thing. If you folks take a look at it, it's one of the things that like really inspired me like as a kid. And it's probably one of the reasons why I love the color purple, honestly, because the crystal from the Dark Crystal is like bright purple. And I always thought it was awesome.
Sense.
Yes. So I think that was like one of my first like, oh my gosh, this is the best color ever. But it's cool, but everything's creepy. Everything is very it's very stylized.
Like, very creepy. So the second part was, you do know there's a show on Netflix.
I do. And
just want to make sure.
I have very specifically not watched it because if I don't like it, I'm going to be really sad. So I'm waiting I'm waiting until trusted people in my circle watch it and finish it and give me a report on it before I do it. It's that serious for me.
Okay. All right.
Allison says I would do that as an homage, Val. I can't remember. Are we talking about Onion Jam homage? We're talking about Dark Crystal homage. I don't know.
Both.
Yeah. Now we have Pearl Jam jokes in the chat.
I'm so sad I can't see the chat right now. Oh, love it.
Ridiculous. So we are adding in some colors in here for the rainbow. This is what I was hoping we were going for here.
And it wasn't even intentional. I think you just talking about purple the last 2 seconds. That's why I was like, we'll just start with that. Like it was just automatic. So we're going to start with your favorite color.
That is an excellent purple too. I like a good deep plum purple. Like that's my kind of
that's your kind of purple.
Yeah. Allison, if you want to do a Dark Crystal tribute piece, you will get so many retweets from me on Twitter, just so you know. Like if honestly, anytime people send me Dark Crystal stuff, like Vampire Hunter D stuff or like Star Wars stuff, I stan you on my account instantly. So
all right, everybody, we know her secret like weakness.
Oh, it's not a secret. I show up here on the streams in the Kylo Ren helmet sometimes, so it's happened several times.
That
yeah, I've got like 8 helmets over there. I've got 3 different stormtroopers. I've got Kylo Ren. I've got Darth Vader. I've got Poe Dameron's flight helmet. I've got a Phase 1 clone trooper helmet, and I have the prototype Mandalorian helmet over there.
Well, you are set up.
Yeah, it's a problem.
No.
But a font of inspiration, right?
If I knew we were doing dress up, I'd have my unicorn headband on right now.
Oh my gosh.
We could have done that.
We could have done this. This could have been a thing. I would that note, I would love to know which pop culture things inspire you folks in chat, and how does that kind of translate? Because for me, when it comes to pop culture, and I'd love to hear this from you too as well, Jess, I get inspired when it comes to pop culture because sometimes movies and TV shows, they have like a very particular aesthetic, so I see colors and like I want to paint with those colors or try to get something that like goes with that vibe, or I see a character I want to illustrate. But I've also recently, I've really been inspired to like stay driven and stay motivated or like believe in myself based on like the attitudes of my favorite pop culture characters. And it's like, maybe that's strange, but like, you know what? They're like, Grand Admiral Thrawn gets his work done. He gets up even when he's having a bad day and he does his stuff, and it always pays off for him. So you know what? I try to channel a little bit of Grand Admiral Thrawn into my day to, keep myself going. I'd love to know, who are your favorite characters? Yeah. What inspires you?
Honestly, I'm going to say sci-fi, which, if we look at the background, the space, the stars, that's, I mean,
Paco did put me in a spaceship. Little, so like we're on the same wavelength right now. We are right there like together.
Sci-fi movies have so much more freedom, along with, animation these days. Way different than the Disney I grew up with. But like this ability to create an entire world, but it's a world people are placed in. That's like a certain kind of magic I'd love to be able to do. That's definitely one of those arenas where I'm like, how do they make that look so real?
How? Yes, definitely. It's I'm the same, honestly, on opposite ends of the spectrum, because I'm like that with sci-fi, because you could go to any planet, you could be anybody, there's so many possibilities. But I'm also like that with like high fantasy, like Lord of the Rings, kind of like medieval fantasy kind of stuff like that. Like I kind of have the same love for each of them, because I love me some Star Wars. But when I was 7 years old, I wanted to be Legolas when I grew up. And I used to fashion myself little bows and arrows and run around, and I insisted that my mother call me Legolas. Like, it was a problem. It was weird. And she was like,
my question is, did she?
Yes. Oh yeah. Of course.
Your mom's awesome.
Of course she
did. Your mom's awesome.
Yes, she did. Absolutely. But like, I was going to grow up and be an elf prince, obvioly. Because
listen, I've heard more ridiculous dreams, so I don't think that's.
Thank you. Pooh Bear. Pooh Bear is so near and dear to my heart. Cody says Winnie the Pooh was a huge inspiration as a kid for me. Yes. I used to watch that show all the time, and that made me not afraid of the dark. When Piglet is like scared under the bed, and then Pooh Bear comes in, gotta get up, get going. I
always loved Eeyore and Tigger.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I feel like I'm honestly, my natural personality is probably somewhere of a combo.
It's like a mix. Tigger. Yeah, definitely.
Like
same.
The good and the bad kind of thing.
Same. I'm pretty sure Eeyore is a Virgo. I'm pretty sure he's a Virgo. He has to be.
Right.
Fairy says, I love action movies about fighting. I love to watch James Bond and Transformers movies when I was 6. Awesome. Allison says, I watched Dark Shadows. I don't know if I know what that is.
I never watched the show, but I did watch the movie. It has Johnny Depp.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. I know what you're talking about. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Sci-fi fantasy are big influences, says Bliss, but I'm very much influenced by music and album covers as well. The Afrofuturism is a huge driver for me on my creative journey. That's amazing. I'm also influenced by a lot of music. I listen to a lot of different things too. Would you say that music kind of influences your art as well?
I have always had a very eclectic mix. Like, it's hard for me to meet somebody and I don't have at least a couple like common denominator. Like I'll listen to some Sinatra and of the week.
Oh yes. I was listening to Sinatra earlier this week, actually.
He's just
my happy song that I like, because we were talking about like, kind of pushing through bad days and
Yes.
kind of feeling anxieties and still trying to like kind of push through and do art and stuff. My song that I listen to if I'm having a bad day is I've Got You Under My Skin by Frank Sinatra.
Yeah,
I turn it
that's
on
a good
really
one.
low and I just listen to it. It is such a classic. It is so
You're like, it's
calming
gonna
to
be
me.
okay.
I listen to that all the time. It's a great song. 2000 AD inspired me growing up, says Jareth.
Okay.
Fairies watching JoJo's Bizarre Adventures. So we got some anime fans in the chat. I love it.
All right.
Norsh like Stargate. I watched Stargate SG-1. Like it was a while ago, but I was like in love with that show for a while. That and Farscape. If any OG sci-fi fans in the chat know about Farscape.
I've heard of it, never watched it. I was just about to go, like, when I think old school sci-fi, I'm like 100% Twilight Zone.
Oh, yes.
Yeah.
Did you ever watch another one that inspired me? Because I like, on top of like painting characters and stuff, I like to paint like creatures and monsters and stuff. And a big thing that like inspired me to start doing that was there was a show on TV for a while called The Outer Limits. Did anybody watch it's kind of like Twilight Zone, but a little newer. But still it was like 1996
it's
or something.
Been a while.
Yeah, so that was a good one. Cody loves big band swing music. I love it.
Ooh, okay.
Yeah, Twilight Zone was a serious
I'll forever love it. And
I don't think one of those not love it. Fairy says, I listen to the JoJo theme music, especially the Stardust Crusaders and the Giorno one. I sometimes listen to the lo-fi version of that. Awesome. Yeah, bliss. Twilight Zone and Outer Limits. Goosebumps for sure. I
love the books when I was a kid. I read them all. I think
I have all of them. They're packed
I don't
away.
even know if I was actually still a kid or if one of my siblings were reading them, but I definitely read them all.
You definitely definitely
like, I love them.
So you are using you're kind of adding in some gradients to like these these ellipses right now.
We're trying to make it look a bit more like a final piece because it's going to be a final piece by the time we're done it.
Yes, I'm loving it too. And so the way that you've used like these gradients, especially on like the earth right there, it actually gives it such a perfect like 3D kind of look. Like I feel like I could reach out and grab that right now.
And it's right there when it happens. Just like the subtle gradients are what can start pushing it outside of the drawing.
Yeah. Kind of makes it pop out a little bit.
I'm glad we're pausing right now because I had mentioned people yesterday I wanted to kind of give an idea of how I do my shadows.
Yes, please.
So there'll be a few times, but I was kind of, I'm over here looking at the earth and I love this picture of the earth. And now that I'm here, I'm like, I don't like this picture for this one. So I might be doing something a little different with the earth. We'll see. But I thought, I was just thinking going, usually when you look down at the earth, you see pictures, from the space station, anything like that. There's always a lot of cloud coverage.
Yeah.
So instead of doing a shadow, we're going to try something new. This might not work. We'll see.
All right.
We never know.
Let's experiment.
But I figured the easiest way to show this was, I did these different nebula glowing auras kind of in the background, and I copied the purple one that was right there. And we're going to lock our background again so I don't move around a bunch of stars and nebulas. Sounds disruptive.
If I can interject just for a moment, locking my background is something that I've never employed. I've never done that. I just kind of jump in and start putting stuff on the layers. What, for somebody that doesn't use that feature, like what are the advantages of locking the layers like that?
So definitely for me, I'm at the point where I really want to dive in. I really want to start knocking some out. And what you can end up running into, one of the biggest benefits of locking your layers is I was over here and, say I wanted to just select those leaves. Well, now I have my whole background.
Oh.
Or, I'm trying to get this, but I'm grabbing the star.
Yeah, you like drag it out there and then you just like anything within there. Oh, okay.
So like if you wanted to select everything on your artboard, you can literally just kind of drag over and get it. But you end up starting, it gets a little, nah.
Yeah.
It's easy to mess it up without realizing it sometimes, especially because when you're working on an iPad, you're touching the screen and sometimes you can shift things and not know it. So if it's a layer where I'm like, all right, there's a bunch of stuff going on here already, we're not going to mess with it. I will, lock them just to try and save myself some future grief.
Yeah. I know that feel. I know exactly the feeling you're talking about.
Yeah. And especially with iPad, I feel like the more layers, the more objects you start getting on the artboard, the more chances you're going to accidentally shift something. So with pieces like that, I'm like, okay, we're not using you right now. You're just going to stay locked. Now, granted, sometimes I'll go back later on and be like, why isn't this moving? Why aren't you?
Why is this happening?
Oh, I locked it.
Oh. But you know what? It's a really fabulous thing to be able to have, is because I didn't even think about that. But you know what? I've done that so many times where you kind of go to select stuff, and it's usually because I want to move. Like maybe I've kind of created some kind of module or some like small portion that I just kind of want to move. Maybe I'm making a pattern or something, and I've got like a grouping of things, and then I end up snagging everything. I'm going to do that every time from now on, is lock those layers that I don't want to interact with. That's awesome.
Been a long habit, but we're kind of finally there, I think.
Yeah.
All right. So this is going to be like a reverse shadow. We're going to try and do a cloud.
Okay.
And I had mentioned yesterday that, with any of these gradients, you can actually, you can select it. You can change it to color. Like, I could go back to a orange right there. But we're gonna keep it this because we're gonna try and see if we can kind of do a cloud overcast is what I'm thinking.
Okay.
But for my other point, instead of selecting, say, another color, we're gonna select no color, and we're gonna drag all the opacity all the way down.
Okay.
So, and you will see there is like a slight hint, even though the opacity goes down. So I'll usually try and take the other color to what I want it to be without opacity, so it blends a little better.
Okay.
So.
Ooh, that's so pretty. I know. Now, I don't know if that's what you intend, but I just love
it. It was close, it worked. It worked pretty close. But for the other gradients, like the background, you have that ring. Now you don't. You still have a slight outline. It's not a perfect world. We work with what we got, but you don't have to worry about that color blending in at the end. So even to kind of get an overlapping look up here in the background, we're going to go back in here and we're going to get rid of the opacity of that one. As you can kind of see, since I took away that other color, the pink area got smaller. So I'm going to go and stretch that out some more. But this is the part where it gets a little bit easier to overlap. See, I have this one going on here. Got that? I don't want that sharp line in some instances. That'd be perfect. Not for this.
But not for
this one.
But thank God you have like a lot of really good control here. And this is cool because I don't usually experiment with the gradients either. So I'm kind of getting to see like the full breadth of it right now before I try it myself.
So you still might have a little bit of halo. So you got to kind of play with that. But you can start overlapping those colors more. And it really, there we go. I think that'll be a little bit better.
Oh, nice.
And then also, as I'm in here, I'm like, why aren't you doing that? So this is the radial gradient we talked about yesterday. We can pull the endpoint outside the circle. So you're going to get that clean line. But if you kind of pull it in within the boundaries of your shape that you're gradiating,
then it'll
tone
just
down
kinda,
like a little bit of it.
Yeah, soften around the edges there.
So there's a lot of different ways to kind of play with that and overlap them and bring some color. And I'm going to do this real quick while I'm thinking, because I thought about it yesterday. I need some like orange and yellow glow going on out here. Like it's the sun. Like the rest of that should be like farther out and circling us. So
I'm here for it. Let's do it.
Some more.
Norsh says, speaking of the sun looks like an orange, very juicy. I love it.
I'll take that. I like that.
Welcome in,
Thank
Nadia.
you.
Good to see you. Thank you for jumping in. And Jareth says that he locks the movement of layers in Photoshop when he's drawing or painting too. So
that's another one. Yeah.
Kind of employing it there as well. That's awesome. I don't know why. It's just, like
Habits.
sometimes things are just not a part of your workflow. Yeah. And if you don't build the habit to do that, then sometimes you don't even realize just how well it could like work in your workflow, because that's just not, it's kind of like
we don't think of it too. I feel like I watch when other people work and I'm like, how did you think of that?
Yeah, like
how did you figure that out? Like,
yeah, I agree. I feel like I see a lot of it on Adobe Live, like kind of discovering, but that was like when it dawned on me that I should be using smart objects. And I don't know, I just thought, I was like, you know what, I don't need to use masks or smart objects. I've got an eraser tool. If I want to, go back to an original layer or original asset version, I can just duplicate it and just mess with the rasterized image. Now that I am using masks and layer and smart objects in Photoshop, I don't know what I was doing for so many years. I don't know, but this is one of those things. Like now that I know I can come in to
you were learning all of it,
lock. Yeah,
so you could appreciate it when you got it.
There you go. Now I definitely do appreciate it, because I've been designing without for a long time, and I'm excited.
Right? It's so funny how like the littlest thing is like a game changer. That we're like, oh.
Brittany says, I'm trying it out now, and it's so much easier than the gradient tools in desktop. Awesome.
But see, that's not for me, because the mesh gradient has been in desktop Illustrator for a long time. A very long time, I feel. And I've used it before a few times, and I always liked it, but I don't. There's something personally for me with this that I feel like I get a little bit more control. Not saying I'm a control freak or anything. Never.
You know what? I saw that look. I see that look, and I feel it very personally, because when it comes to my own artwork, I'm the same way sometimes, where I'm just like, you know what? I have to do it this way. It must be done this exact way. I'm like that all the time. I'm like that. I'm very particular about things, especially when I'm like, do you ever like work on something and you're like, oh my gosh, like I really like, you really like what you're doing. And then you start to get really, really particular about how you're going to finish it until it just drives you nuts.
I haven't been mentally there since yesterday.
Yeah.
Not at all. Last night I was like, maybe I'm going to work on it for a little bit. I'm like, no, we're going to keep this real. This is real. Y'all are going to see how this works out. Like,
yes. Let's see. Ryan says, I see you started with good intentions and named the layers, and now it's all chaos. Don't we all? Don't we all?
I really I put, there's a whole 4 I named. That's really good.
You know what? He's not even talking about me, and I feel personally called out.
Right. I'm sure there's so many people that just went, oh, yeah, me too.
You know what? Yeah, pick at Jess about it. We don't do that. We've never done it. Never. And yes, Cody is giving us an excellent reminder. In 1 hour, we'll be doing an artist spotlight. If you would like to nominate yourself or someone else for a future artist spotlight, please feel free to fill out the form in the tab above the chat. So you can nominate yourself, you can nominate a friend of yours, or you can nominate an artist that you really admire. Just go ahead and fill out that little form, and you will be added. Those submissions will be added to the pool of people who are chosen for a future spotlight on another day. We are very excited about our spotlight for today. I can't wait to get to it. So I hope you folks will stick around and wait to see, so we can reveal to you who we have chosen.
Right.
Pretty pumped about it.
Yes, I'm very excited about it.
Bliss is saying the nebulas behind look like they could be chakra-ish behind like the meditating figure. That is true. That
very,
is true.
Very true.
I'm on the same wave right now.
Got all my people here. Accidentally, I did that. Hold on. Come back. I don't want you there. And part of me is like, but do I want you there?
I'm not sure. We
I
can
don't
try.
know.
Yeah.
We're gonna go back to our little rainbow ribbons.
I can see how like what you're doing here though, with like kind of grouping these up together and making like cloud cover, and I like it.
Yes, I thank you, because I kind of looked at it and I'm like, I don't know how I
Well,
feel about
sometimes you
shoes.
need
So we're
just
gonna
to
come
come
back.
back, you know?
Yeah, we're
like
gonna
just come back to it.
Like, so I was gonna go somewhere else, and I'm like, you know what we can do? We can do our leaves.
Yes.
We're gonna copy and paste some guys.
Do some good leaves.
And just kind of get our tree going on. So here's another time where I'm like, ooh, I don't want you. So, well, it is not locked. There we go.
There's a better, more comfortable place for you to be.
You really want to be here. It'll bring you joy. I promise.
I don't want you here. Just move.
It is not you. It's me.
It's not you.
I promise. I promise, leaves.
Oh, man. So when you actually start, I know that you said that a lot of especially for this particular piece, that it was kind of a personal piece for you that you wanted to kind of share with us on the stream. When you sit down, and you do your sketches and stuff, like how does that process usually work? Like, do you just find inspiration someplace and just sit down and kind of let it go and just kind of let it flow, or how does that?
They're usually just those like random ideas that you're sitting and you're like, I think that'd look cool. I think it sounds cool in my brain. Let's see how I draw it. And sometimes you look at it and you're like, nope, idea, that's not gonna ever work.
Missed the mark, but good job.
Yeah, Val. Like A for effort. I will take an A for effort anytime. Showing up is half your battle. But for like this one, I was like, I just kind of feel like it might work as a colorful piece. As you can tell, I'm totally avoiding the person. Like that'll be the last thing. You know
what?
I work on.
That's what we do sometimes.
Because I'm just like, oh gosh, do we really need to deal with you?
I love that though, because I feel like I go through that constantly. And it feels great to know that I'm not the only one that feels that way about certain parts of their painting. Like we were talking about yesterday, like not everybody just sits down and goes from A to B and just finishes it all in one go. A lot of times we're jumping around because we're a little self-conscious about certain things. We're a little unsure about how to execute a certain technique in other places, and you just bounce around.
And I feel like that's how I personally create art. And I've always been that way. I'll be like, oh, I think I want to work on this. And then I work on this. And then I go to the next one. And then I go to the next one. And a piece never really looks finished in my brain. And I feel like that's one of the hardest artist things too. But it's always that moment of like, no, not you yet. Or I'll get mad at something. I'll be like, you're not working how I wanted you to work. Why are you betraying me? Like,
why? Is this not?
Why can you not just look like you do in my brain? Is that is that asking too much? Like,
it's hard sometimes to transfer a concept and have something work in practice the way you thought it would work in theory. It's not always easy.
And I'm also the type, like, I have some cool pieces I've been working on, but they're nowhere near finished.
They're not finished.
I started them like 3 months ago. They're not done. One day I'll finish them.
I am in the same boat. I know exactly what you mean.
And you're like, oh, I should go work on this. And you're like, I'll work on something else today.
Yep. I feel like it's always funny, like kind of how we see stuff too, because for me personally, one of the main things that kind of like I find it hard to get over is that like when I look at my portfolio, I don't see like a consistent style a lot of the time. I just feel like I look at like a portfolio full of tons of different art that's done by different people, because like I remember all the key points of like struggle in each piece, and so it doesn't always look consistent to me. Is there anything like that for you where like you see your art a certain way but people disagree? Like
I didn't realize I had a style till like this year.
Yeah, and then people are like, "Oh, your style," and you're like, "My what?"
And so, I always knew, and the weird thing is my graphic design is very clean, very
Mhm.
luxury, very up at, higher end.
Mm-hmm.
And you can barely find any of it online. Like very limited of what I actually have mostly been paid to do for years is not
That's
online.
so funny.
But it's all very like clean, very like I love white space.
Mm-hmm.
If you look at my illustration work, you would
Mm-hmm.
never ever
know.
think I've even heard of the words white space. But when it comes
That's
to graphic design, give me all the white space.
Oh,
when it
that's
comes
so
to
funny.
illustration, I'm going to make you stare at something for like 10 minutes just to see if you caught everything.
Yeah, good. I love it. I love it. That's an excellent goal. Ryan says, yes, it never looks like I imagine in my head. So like what I imagined in my head. So I have to
Yes.
change the whole thing. What does that mean, Val? You mean the like
I also feel like that's
thinking it's done by different people?
Inner critic thing too.
Oh, definitely. 100%. It's yeah, I guess that kind of answers the question, Allison. It's like you look at your art and you never really see it the way other people see it. So when I look at my portfolio, other people tell me that I have a style, and I suppose that to an extent, like I agree with that because I can see things in the way that I paint certain things that are consistent throughout each painting. But I feel like I've been in a different mindset for each individual painting that I've done, and so when I look at my own work, I feel like I see a collection of work done by different people because I can see all of the differences very keenly. Like I can pick it out. Maybe I just do that because it's mine, whereas other people look at it and they're like, this is Val's work, but it looks like different stuff to me.
I get that. And I think there's especially a lot of live streamers, on here. Fresh Cake's the first one that's coming to mind, that you just see his stuff and you're like 100% that's Fresh Cake.
Yep.
And so it was interesting when it was first brought to me that I had a style, because in my head I'm kind of going, I'm trying to find it still. Like I'm trying to solidify it. I'm like, I know I love colors. I know I like having something. If I'm going to stare at something for long enough to make it, I don't want it to make me miserable.
Yeah. Yes. That's a great way to put it. Yeah.
I want it to be somewhat like at least something that you look at and you're like, and granted, you can't please everybody. You can't please everybody. I'm sure that some people look and go, what is
people
this?
try.
And you know what? Though. I just want something to be like a little bit fun, a little bit happy, which is why I was looking at my, this is a great idea. Reason why concepts are good, because I'm like, oh yeah, the whole point of the tree was to have different seasons.
So
I need some fall leaves.
Yes, you know what Ryan is saying, these leaves are giving me dragon vibes, and I love that so much.
Dragon tree, I'll take that.
Yes, I'm living for it right now because the leaves are gorgeous. Let's see. What did Jess mean about not being on the internet? I think that meant that, the designs you've done are not things you could just Google and find.
Yes. I'd say probably 95% of my graphic design portfolio is not online. Like, gotcha. Very, very limited amount. And I do have quite a few projects that I've done actually in the last year that I want to get up on Behance, but those things do take time.
Well, yeah. And plus, like when you're doing stuff for companies and things too, like sometimes you're under NDA and you can't show it off for a time. And then once it's not, then you have to like put together a case study for it.
Yes.
It's a process.
I have a bunch of stuff that I was super proud of that I designed a couple years ago, that it's finally like at that point where I could put it online. And I'm like, I don't really want to, it's a couple years old. Like, yeah. I already have a 2018 2018 portfolio sample that I still have in my Behance page. That's enough old work.
Yeah, that's how I feel. I did an illustration for a video game title a while back, and I'm finally able to like show it off and say that I did it, but I feel like it's not even close to my current skill level now that I'm actually legally allowed to post it. So I haven't posted anything about it. And then I'm just like, I'm so bummed out because as soon as I did it, I was proud of it. And I was like, I'm gonna, as soon as I'm allowed to show that I did this, I'm gonna scream it from the rooftops. And now that compare it with my new work, I'm just like, maybe not. I don't know, but maybe I should anyways, just to be I did this. But I don't know. That's how the artist brain works, right? We're not very nice to ourselves.
We're gonna do better at it.
Yeah, we have to work on it. Change your inner monologue,
right?
Be kinder to yourself,
and you know what, I do want to say, I totally get that for like the old artworks. I did a 7-foot by 3-foot chalkboard for Marriott.
Wow.
Liquor company. Never seen the light of day as far as I know. It was used internally. So it's kind of like, oh, I still want to share you. It's been a couple years. Like, can I share it yet?
Can I do that? Can you message people? Because I've
thought about reaching
NDA
out
stuff, but not that long.
Well, see, this is one of those areas I was nice. I didn't sign an NDA.
Oh, you just did it. So yeah,
I was hired to, make a chalk. I thought it was for a wedding.
Oh.
And then I show up and they're like, it's for a photo shoot. I'm like, what?
Huh?
Yeah. This is a lesson to all freelancers out there. Contracts, learn them.
Do it.
Find somebody that knows them. They're a headache. They're my least favorite thing about adulting as a contractor freelancer.
Yep.
But look into it.
Yes. It definitely helps. I'm very, very lucky in that my boyfriend studied law. So if I'm looking at a contract, I'm like, don't know what this means. I'm like, honey,
please explain this to me.
Please tell me, what does this say? What does this mean?
So this is really awkward, Val, but I'm gonna need your boyfriend's number.
Yeah. This is gonna be very strange, but can I call him?
Like, it's totally cool. I'll just call him and be like, yo, I'm Val's friend. He says who? And be like, Jess? Be like, oh, she has questions about a contract.
Honestly, he probably would. He always prefaces that with, I cannot offer you official legal advice, but I can tell you if I think that this is a good idea for you to sign or not, basically. I never call myself good enough and always feel bad. No,
Fairy.
It's the most ridiculous thing is my brain tries to block some knowledge and I want to learn, but I still have that spirit. Fairy. It's a long road. You can't, like, when this is one of the things I think, and I know that you feel this, Jess, which is why I know that I can like talk about this, and I know that you'll be right there with me. One of the things that used to discourage me, even about like encouraging stuff, is that people will say, well, just be nicer to yourself, or, be positive and, chin up and stuff. And it was hard for me because there were some days in my life where I didn't feel like I could just, just get up and be positive. And so sometimes the encouraging stuff where people are, saying maybe even some of the things that we've said in these streams, it's kind of discouraging because when you try to do it and you can't just force yourself to change and be different right then, you kind of feel like you're failing a little bit. But I promise you that, being positive and learning to have a healthier outlook in your own mind, being kinder to yourself, and kind of bringing that kindness into other parts of your life and feeling better as a person, it's a process. And it's okay that it's a process. You don't have to be perfect every day. And you're allowed to.
That would get exhausting.
Yeah.
And I do have to say, I don't know the full breadth of who's watching us today or who will watch us after this, but I am willing to bet that Fairy is one of our youngest viewers. And Fairy, you are going above and beyond. You participate in Adobe Lives. You show up for challenges. I've seen you for over a year on here.
Very
you
regular.
are hustling so much harder and so much better than a lot of people your age. I don't know. Cody, can you put up his Instagram? Can we give a little shout out real quick?
Shout out Fairy. Yeah.
Because like
show some
when
love
I
to our
found
friends
out
in the
how old
chat.
Fairy is, I was blown away with the amount of work. So
yeah. So I think and that's the thing too, is that, you are here all the time, Fairy. Like, people know who you are.
You show up.
Yeah.
You were doing so good.
Brittany just said it perfectly. You are worthy,
Yes.
like, and it's hard to feel that way sometimes, especially when you're doing art. Like, don't we all, no matter what kind of designer you are in the chat today, like kind of creating from the heart and like taking your inner creativity and like putting it down on a canvas and then like almost immediately showing it to the planet and saying, now tell me what you think. That can be hard. And there might be people out there who look like they're doing it very well and like it's easy, but it's not easy for a lot of the people you think it's easy for. And it's not always easy for individuals, and you should not feel bad if it's a little bit of a struggle for you. I feel like we should normalize kind of expressing that. Yeah, being human. Exactly. That's
okay to be human.
Yeah,
it's okay to be human.
Yep.
I hate when I'm human. I get so mad.
But I'm human like most of the time.
I do not like it. You could ask my partner. I have a really hard time with that. But I will keep reminding other people, and hopefully we'll all start remembering it together.
Yeah. It's just fine to feel a little discouraged or a lot discouraged.
Right.
It is, yeah.
I've had it, there's been a couple rough years, and this year was a little rough, and I have bad days. I thought yesterday was going to be a bad day. I should have known better. I was hanging out with Val, but it ended up being like the best day I'd had in like a week or so. And you know
what? I feel
you never know when when something good's going to come around.
Hey, yeah, and
the
honestly,
ebbs and flows of life.
I feel like this is an excellent place to make the friends that kind of make the difference sometimes.
Yes.
Fairy says, thank you for the support, everyone. You make me blush and cry. Oh no, don't cry. I hope they're happy tears.
Yeah, they better be happy tears.
Happy tears, Fairy. You're doing a great job. Let's see. I think that, yeah, this is good. I hope that helps somebody, because I know that there has to be somebody, even somebody that's not speaking up in chat, who might feel a little discouraged in their creative journey. And
just
never
keep trying.
Yeah, never compare your creative journey to somebody else's. And I think the most frustrating thing is, tell me if you agree, Jess, is when the right thing to do, what you should be doing, but you don't feel it, where you're just like, you know what, I should be this way, or I should do this, but then like you're not able to just do it even though you know the answer. That is discouraging a little bit too. But hey, humans.
We're humans.
Yeah.
It's okay to not be okay.
So tell us what you're doing here with the trunk, because you were starting to kind of place these pinpoints around and really kind of give it like this kind of 3D look, like you're pulling it out of the canvas. Yeah, we're
trying to give it a little, oops, not that. Not you. You stay. Trying to give it a little movement. I got so into my leaves and everything. I'm like, wait, we still have more branches. Hold on. Let's calm it down. So just staring at this glaring white space in my drawing.
I know. Weird. I love you love it in other aspects, but in this, you're just like, can't stand it.
And I've tried. There's one thing in my Behance that I did recently, last October, Drawtober, that I did a bunch of more simple illustrations.
Okay.
Like, well, simple for me. And the challenge was to kind of like not spend more than 2 hours, not an hour, like not even messing with gradients. So stuff like this, it's kind of like, okay, remember we're on a time zone. We need to get colors. We need to have this finished.
Gotta do it. We have about 30 minutes until we switch into the artist spotlight. And then we will have a little bit of time right after that as well. So we do have maybe 45 minutes left of like maybe 40 minutes left of creation, I would say. We got our countdown, I think, going on maybe. Yeah. Let me look through, because I know that we've got some more stuff coming in. Allison is saying nothing worse than a blank page or a canvas. You know what I started doing to combat that? When the blank canvas really just discourages the heck out of me and I can't stand to look at it, is I changed the color of my background.
Ooh.
I set it to a color, like a very subtle color, or I just set it to a gray.
Okay.
Or I got a pack of paper textures that I put in the background of my Photoshop document when I'm drawing, or my fresco when I'm drawing, so that it looks like I'm drawing on paper. And it doesn't look like I'm trying to paint on like a blank canvas anymore. It just looks like I have like either paper in front of me, or putting the gray as the background color of my canvas makes it less stark and bleak looking. And it does help. Bliss says, I was feeling discouraged and have been. That's why I decided to spend a day with y'all yesterday and today. Well, I'm so glad that you are here. I feel ya, Bliss. I was gonna say on that note, I love your tip, Val, for the background. And I think I feel like I might have heard somebody else say that before, that they do that just because it's less intimidating. For me, that's why I have the sketchbook. It's for when I have those random ideas that I'm not even sure how to plan out or do them, that I just literally scribble in there. And I think I had showed it yesterday. Oh no, my favorite pencil isn't within reach. Oh no. No. It's nowhere in stream. This is a disaster. Right? But I have like a bright sky blue pencil I use for my sketches only. So it's like my favorite color pencil and my favorite color notebook. So it's like this mental thing. And I just go in there and I do sketches, because I feel like if I was to try and do something like this right now that I'm working on from scratch, we would be here till at least next Tuesday, because I'd be like, maybe I should do this instead. Maybe I should do this instead. What about this? What if I did that? Yeah, when I first start like kind of developing a concept, I'm the same way. And then I realize, like, I finish the painting and then I look at the original sketch that I had. And I'm like, these are two different pieces of art. Right? Well, I don't know. I long for the day when everything I paint kind of looks like the way I saw it in my head. And I don't know that will ever actually be a reality, because I don't really think that's the way my art works. And I see other people, they do sketches and you can put the sketch over top of their final painting or illustration afterwards, and it's just like a rendered perfect replica of that sketch. I don't know how they do it. Yeah, I don't really know either. And I've kind of accepted that I can't compare myself to people that have that process. And I don't think that my art brain works that way. It's not your superpower. You have other ones. But I'll tell you what, I did, I developed a new kind of style recently, and I did it for a lot of reasons. Number one, I needed to find a new way to like find a therapeutic kind of comfortability with my art again, because I was kind of on that art grind for so long. And you get burnt out. Yeah, I was starting to get burnt out, and it was starting to feel like a serious chore for me, and I wasn't enjoying the painting process anymore. So I was like, ooh, I got to make a change. I started playing Animal Crossing to calm the mind. I love Animal Crossing, and so I started painting the Animal Crossing characters and items and things, and I found that when I stopped trying to create a painting that would be incredible, like you said yesterday, oh, this is gonna blow them away, this is gonna be, this is gonna be the best ever, and just started painting something for the joy of it, and chose something simple. It's very, very simple, just small lines, and it's not super intricate. My sketches actually look like my final paintings look exactly like my sketches when I do those. And really? Yeah, and it doesn't make me feel like I am struggling to accomplish something when I do them. So if
Which is why I'm not drawing an earth right now, for the record. We might put some shapes underneath there, but we're just going like a glowing orb at this point.
Go for it. I see you experimenting? I'm living for it. But yeah, do you have anything specifically, like a particular kind of thing that you illustrate, Jess, that is just like purely therapeutic to you? Is it like everything, or do you have like, maybe you really, really like just using the gradient tool, or maybe you really like making clouds? Just what is it?
You know what? We didn't do it in this one, surprisingly, but sunflowers are a big one.
Ooh,
for me. I really, really, I've done a lot of sunflowers over the years. And then thank you for reminding me, because that's been hidden. I've been loving like the rainbow ribbon thread thing. That's definitely been one of my favorite things. So we're gonna jump back in here, keep avoiding my person for a little bit longer.
Hey, sometimes that's how we do. Sometimes that's how we do.
We'll see how it goes. We see. It's life. You roll with it.
Fairy says, I have a bunch of sketches on a piece of paper which I want to execute for the future, and some lettering sketches from 2018 which I vectorized a week ago. That's awesome, Fairy. Yes. Sometimes it's cool to dig up some things that you worked on before. You can kind of shed some new light on them.
Yes.
And come back maybe with a little more knowledge than you had before, or just after taking a break from it, you're not so like, kind of freaking out about it.
Fresh eyes.
Yes.
Fresh eyes, fresh heart. Like it makes a difference. I did.
Let's see. My art brain works on vibes. Like I want to convey or invoke a vibe. So I explore shapes and colors that help to make that happen. This is from Bliss. That's awesome. I like that. You know what? I think I do that sometimes too. In my brain, I call it atmosphere. Like I will see an image someplace, kind of like we were talking about yesterday, like seeing those Microsoft like screensavers. Sometimes I'll see one of those images and it won't necessarily be the landscape that inspires me, but it'll be the atmosphere of
the feel of it.
Piece. Yeah, like the colors, how they work together, like the colors that it takes to convey like a somber dusk kind of time of day.
Yes.
Things like that. The atmosphere of that, or kind of like what you're doing is just like kind of adding those kind of bursts of light and kind of galaxy. Oops, I just knocked my mic. Sorry, everybody. Kind of adding all that stuff. Okay. Adding all that stuff into a piece and kind of giving it, that vibe, like Bliss said, or that atmosphere is also really fun.
Agreed.
Let's see. Fairy says, my art brain and creating side is activated at nighttime and rebellion time to school. I use my old drawing books to sketch my ideas sometimes. Yeah, you know what? I find that it was when I was in school, that happened to me all the time. I wanted to be up late drawing pictures of dragons and stuff. I had a phase where I only wanted to draw dragons with amulets of power around their neck. And I was like, I think I must have been like 9.
When I was younger, eyes. I have so many, like for my teens and 20s, I have so many like sketches and different mediums of different eyes. Like I was always, and if you ask my mom, heart people were my favorite thing. Heart people.
Oh, okay.
They're little heart shapes, actually kind of like this.
Nice.
This is one of those opportunities where I'm like, I'm drawing. I can show you what I meant.
Yes. Let's see it. Let's see a heart person.
There'd be a heart. This is actually, it's not a perfect heart, but hey, none are. Yeah. It's way better than the ones I drew when I was 6, though. Okay. And it'd be something like,
oh, they have legs. Yes, they have legs.
Oh, they had legs and arms.
Yes.
Oops. See, sometimes undo does not help you. Let's go there. And then they have like, la la la.
I love it. He's like, yeah.
We're going to keep that in the file for posterity.
Yes.
Dexterity, posterity, one of those two.
for the memes.
For the memes. For the memes later on. All right. Back to our rainbow.
I love it so much.
blend. See, when I start getting the colors in there, then that's when I get excited and I'm like, oh, okay.
I'd love to know, like, for those of you folks in chat, like, what were the first things that you folks did, like, creatively that really, like, you thought, you know what, I like doing this, you know, like, if you're an illustrator or a painter, or maybe you do graphic design, maybe you're a UI UX designer, you know, what is like some of the first things that you created, and you just were like, I think I want to continue doing this. For me, it was definitely like the dragons with the amulets on. I was like, you know what,
I can so picture this.
I remember sitting and thinking, I had yellow construction paper, which is a horrible thing to draw on if you're trying to do like perfect drawings, because you can't erase on construction paper.
No,
it's
you
pretty
can't.
bad. But I had like a binder, and I punched holes in the construction paper and put it in a binder to make myself a sketchbook. And I drew a dragon, and I was like, he needs something more. He needs some swag. So I put the amulet on him, and then I came out to the front room and I showed, my parents had their friends over, and one of the guys that was there was like, hey, that's pretty good. You should do more. And I was like, oh, that's brilliant. I shall.
I should. You're right.
And then I filled up that binder with tons of different kinds of dragons. And then
do you still have it?
Drawing. I might actually still have it. And if
I want to see,
I will dig it up and post it on Twitter.
I want to see some vintage Val dragons.
I'll have to. I actually, I just found the other day, I found 2 drawings of my favorite anime characters at the time from when I was like 10 or 11. So I painted, or I drew with colored pencil and crayon Inuyasha and Sesshomaru from the anime Inuyasha, because I was just like, these are the coolest.
My partner's trying so hard to get me into anime. He's doing a great job. We're trying. We're starting. We're trying.
Right. It's you gotta find the right one for you. Okay, you gotta find the right one for you. But I loved it, and I found it the other day, maybe like a month ago. Honestly, maybe it was like a month ago, and I realized that since I was 11, I have wanted to paint Sesshomaru from Inuyasha, and then it dawned on me that now I have this painting from when I was like 10 or 11, and I also have the actual print that I've painted now in my adult life. So I kind of want to post them side by side and be like, this is the same character, and this is almost 20 years difference. Like,
you know what? That's something I have talked with a few people about, because I mentioned yesterday, I was a college dropout. I went back after a long time. So I do have a couple projects I did in Illustrator on the desktop from like 2002 and 2003.
Oh man.
And let's just say I'm much better with gradients now.
Nice. I would love to see comparisons though.
Right.
Or to see you like recreate some of the projects. That's also really, really fun. I also, because when it comes to artwork and stuff, I am self-taught. I've just been using like resources and stuff like Adobe Live and YouTube and things like that, because I was going to college for forensic anthropology, and I left. I was like, I don't think I can.
Hold on, I need a moment
just that, because we're the same human being.
Yeah, right now. Like, right. I could kind of see that, but I'm glad you went this route.
Yeah. Well, it helped me with my anatomy, but it was, it was just not like the kind of creative thing I was looking for. It was cool.
Yeah.
But it's kind of a stressful job to have. But it was interesting. It interests me, but I don't think it interests me enough to make it my job. So I was like, I am going to go get a job elsewhere and try to be an artist, and I couldn't afford art school, so I just kind of I dropped out. I left, and then my family was like, we will support you through this for this amount of time, and if you can make it your job in this amount of time, that's fine, but after this amount of time you got to go back to school.
I think that's awesome. And you know what, if you want an education, need to get education, good. And it's always good to educate yourself.
Yeah.
And there's millions of resources, but there are a lot of people that I feel they're like, well, I don't have a degree in this. I don't have a degree in that.
That doesn't stop
Nope.
you. And I mean, unless you want to be like a surgeon.
Please, if you're going to be a
Please.
surgeon, if you're going to
That's
fly
cool.
a plane, anything, you know.
But if you're
of
here
that-
to chat and you want to do creative stuff,
Yes, go with by the book.
you know, yeah, do it. But yeah, I think it's the thing is that it's, you know, it wasn't art school was not available to me. That was never ever going to be an
And listen,
option,
Val,
you know,
I'll be paying for art school for probably another 20 years still.
Oh
So.
no. Yeah, it's a common sentiment that I've heard. If you have the ability to go to art school and that's the path that you want to take, I think that's wonderful. So because I mean people kind of ask like, what do you
I was
think?
gonna say,
you know,
I just always like to reinforce for people, because if you haven't, it doesn't discredit you at all.
No.
You can still learn the skills. You can
can
still put in the work, and it's just it's putting in the work.
I honestly thought until I made the decision to leave and then kind of pursue art on my own, I thought that because I, you know, didn't have the money, and it was like I thought I was never going to have the money to go to school, that I would never be able to pursue what I wanted. And I think that the people, because I've met a lot of different people who go to school for art and who are self-taught. And I would say that they are just as valuable and talented as each other. I would say that they have learned in different ways. And so there's a lot of unique variations of technique when it comes to different people who've had different experiences and how they acquired the art knowledge. But there's, you know, not being able to afford art school does not bar you from being successful and kind of following your dreams. And we have things like this, you know, like Adobe Live, where you can come and you can learn. And that's what I did. I think I will.
I think that's awesome.
To school for business maybe in the future.
Smart.
You know? Yeah, I think that would probably benefit me. But I don't now. If I could go and like pay to go to school now, I don't think I would go for art. I think I found what I need.
You made it happen.
You know, here on Adobe Live, on YouTube, you know, finding like tutorials on Gumroad and things like that, because there's so much available.
Gumroad.
So, yeah. Don't let it discourage you if you're not able to do that.
Yes. And I did go back. And I finished. And that was a personal goal for me. It was kind of like, all right, we started this. We got to go back. My academic advisor, I have no idea if he'd be watching, but we've kept in touch, and he kept a Post-it note for 8 years on his desk, because he's like, you're not one to quit.
Oh my gosh. He left like the note from when you...
It was on his desk. It was on his computer monitor.
No
way. It was
way.
7.5 years later. And I'm like, I can't believe you kept that. Because I left him a little note. He wasn't in office when I had withdrawn, and he kept it all those years. And he always tells me happy birthday, and like, you know,
wow. He believed in you,
right?
Wow.
I was like, I cannot. How? He's like, you're stubborn. You'd be back. I'm like,
that's great.
Can't argue that.
That's fair. I'm gonna scroll through here because we got some really great comments coming in.
Awesome.
People talking
keep
about
me up to date.
Love and Inuyasha. Thank you. Allison said I had to refresh. Did I hear anatomy? Yes. I was going to school for forensic anthropology, which helped me a lot with human anatomy and stuff. But wasn't what I wanted to pursue. Cody says I never went to college for art. I am self-taught and internet taught. I do have a floral design degree though. That is awesome.
That is awesome.
Cool.
I can see that too in your artwork, Cody.
Yeah, definitely. You definitely have an eye for dynamic ranging of like nature, a composition,
like organic. It just always feels so.
Yes,
Cody, your artwork always feels like a comfy, cozy cottage.
Yes, definitely. I feel like warm, like I need to be sitting by a fire with a cup of cocoa or some tea or
curled up with a book.
And also, it's just like every time I look at her art, I just like really want to hug a bear.
Yes,
you know,
I agree with that.
Teddy bear, though, like a nice bear, like a Disney bear, maybe not like a bear,
like a Pooh bear.
Yes. Brittany says I was interested in graphic design in high school and couldn't get much information about it, so I decided to try art teaching. 10 years later, I'm Adobe certified with AAS in graphic design. Brittany,
awesome.
Congratulations.
Yes, Brittany.
That's amazing.
See, that's the
Good for
kind of
you.
stuff I like.
Yes. Ryan says, I have no degrees or qualifications in design or any other subjects. You can make your way without them. Yeah, it's definitely possible. Good for you, Ryan. Efroja says, I love the combination. Hakeem said, I left art school 5 courses short of a degree in illustration. I learned design and development on my own by freelancing. Awesome.
Nice.
Ferry says, I really want to become an apprentice to a photographer that I admire and I talk with, and I want to learn from them. I don't really care about the payment because compared to schools doesn't pay me anyway to learn there. Hey, you know, I guess
that's an excellent point.
Yeah, you can go and just kind of do it. Yeah, I wish you luck in that. I think that sounds really, really cool. I hope that works out for you, Ferry. Let's see. Allison says, very competitive, even if a dentist. Were you the one yesterday who said they were a dentist, Allison? There were in the previous, or the stream that is after, because after us we have the Illustrator Daily Creative Challenge, and then we have Howard Pinsky and Andrew Hockrattle coming up with a really cool kind of Photoshop and UI UX dual stream. And there was somebody in there that said that they were a dentist. Let's see. I'm self-taught and internet taught in regards to art graphic stuff. This is from Bliss, but I have an MA in art history that I don't really use. That's really cool though. Christy Lee, hello. Welcome.
Hello.
'Tis good to see you, Christy. All right. We also have about 10 minutes before we jump into the artist spotlight. So that's coming up. Who is Cody Bear? Aswin, Cody Bear is right there in the chat below you with the cool little shield. She is a fabulous person. Very nice, very talented. And you should give her a follow and check out her artwork because it's really great. All right, I think we're caught up on the chat.
Cool. Yeah. I feel weird not seeing it today. I'm like, ooh, what's happening? What are they saying?
Always like look over,
right?
Just, where is it? Oh no!
Like why aren't you here?
Ooh, we're starting to get in there with some green.
Oh, we're doing. Yeah, we're trying.
I love it. I'm so here for it.
So for my gradients, I like using the multi-point, and I'll go with my kind of color I'm going with, a lighter for a highlight, and then darkers. So that kind of starts making it pop a little bit more. I'm gonna have to see my OCD. I'm like, I'm gonna have to fix you. You're not lined up.
Definitely coming back to you later.
We're gonna do probably a little bit of OCD tidying before this hits the interwebs later.
Spoiler alert, it's been on the interwebs this whole time. I don't know if anybody.
The final revealing.
I'm just kidding. I hate to break it to you, Jess, but we've been here.
We've been live for a while now.
It's been like the better part of like an hour and a half.
You know, it's actually almost been an hour and a half.
Yeah,
it flies by with you quick.
I know.
See, I think we need like a Val and Jess positivity hour.
Yeah. Hey, yo.
Just stop on by and get a pep talk.
Yeah, we will encourage you to do the things that you love, and you will leave here hopefully feeling much better. That's
the goal.
That's the goal.
Anybody Brittany doesn't feel better, they better message me and let me know.
Yeah. Brittany says, I was the same about going to school and being self-taught. I completely get it. When I had the opportunity to go to school recently, I learned some cool stuff. I just go to Adobe Live School now. Yeah, when people ask me, oh, what do you do? And I'm like, I'm a graphic designer. I teach Photoshop sometimes. I'm an illustrator. I freelance. And they're like, oh, where did you go to school for that? And I'm like, the University of YouTube. But now the school of Adobe Live.
I was gonna say to that. Yeah, I might have to put like Adobe Live teacher.
Yeah, there you go. So it's just, it's everybody's got their own journey, and everybody also has different opportunities than other people. And
yes, that is true.
I spent a lot of time thinking that I wasn't going to be able to do the things that I wanted to do because I didn't have the same opportunities growing up as other people. And I got news for you. If
Not
that
true.
is how you feel, there are alternatives for you, and you can still do the things that you love, and be just as valuable and just as skilled and knowledgeable as other people who have
Always
opportunities.
And you know what? And that's why it's kind of traditionally been a thing that, we don't like talking about our age. And, especially women, we don't like talking about it. That's why I talk about my age, because I was late to the game. And I never in my life would have thought I'd get opportunities like this with Adobe. Like, if you had talked to me 10 years ago, no way. It's actually this year, September will be 10 years since I graduated.
Really?
So 10 years ago, I would have never thought Adobe would be like, hey, you want to draw for us?
You want to come and hang out and draw?
I would have looked at them and been like, no way. They never gonna happen. So it's also never too late. There's the time's gonna pass either way. Might as well do something that makes you happy, makes you calm, brings you to life. Like, I'm like the rest of you. I can go into a Netflix days like no other and not get things done. But at the end of the day, it's stuff like this that I'm looking at this, honestly. We're not doing negative talk, but I'm like, no, there's additional things I'm going to have to do this later.
But you know what though? Like kind of thinking that and accepting that is, in my opinion, it is better than like sitting there seething about it silently and like kind of kicking it to the side. Like, I love that you were like, we're working on this. I'm gonna have to tweak it later. That is a good mental like discussion with oneself, right? Or as opposed to being mean in your own brain to you about what you've made if you're disappointed. But I mean, I'm super biased, but I'm loving it. I want to reach out and grab the ribbon really bad.
Yes.
I love it.
Goal.
And you know how I feel about that sun. You know how I feel about it.
Right.
I was loud about it yesterday.
I get it. I get it. But I think I like putting that out because I think some people are so intimidated that they won't get it right or perfect. And I'm definitely guilty of being one of those people that are like, should have done this. I should have done that. I didn't do this. I didn't do that.
Why did you do that? Yeah.
Yeah. All I hope is everybody had a good time. And that, I know I'm going to go back because there's little things and I'm like, we're going to adjust this later. We're going to have to adjust this a little bit later just because, it's that artist perfectionist thing. But I'll own up to it.
We got some great messages in the chat. Christy, I have no issues talking about my age. I love being 31. Brittany, I feel late to the game at times because she's 31. But
y'all, I'm gonna be 39 this year. You're right with me. We're gonna do this. We got this. Like,
we are just fine, y'all.
Like, it's gonna be good. It's not too late.
Marsh is saying something I would just like to add to the end of that real quick because I feel like this is perfect. Being late to the game is not an issue. Not doing what you love is. So like, it doesn't matter how old you are or anything like that. Like, if you're doing what you're passionate about, that, you're doing the job that brings you joy or working towards making the thing that brings you joy, your job, if that's what you want, that's where it's at right there. That's it.
I 1,000% agree. It's showing up. And you know what? When you show up, you never know what's going to happen. Sometimes that's when that magic happens. Like the first time me and Val talked and we're like, you what? Yes. All right.
Mind blown. We're best friends. Let's do this. This is going to be an excellent stream.
I thought it was just me.
Sometimes it just ends up like that. Right? Hakeem says, you all are good. I'm 52.
See, all right. Right before you read that,
I would never have guessed.
Thank you for being here. 1, 2. I always go with the mentality that I wish I could remember her name, but I know there's a few people on that are in their like 80s and they get into yoga. and they like start doing, I am always so inspired by people that do the things that scare them, not like the bad way, but like the things they're scared of doing because they're scared of failing, because so often we're capable of surprising ourselves when we just give ourselves a chance. And too often we talk ourselves out of things before we even get that chance. Like we block ourselves.
Absolutely. And giving yourself the chance and just allowing yourself to believe, even for a moment, that it's possible can sometimes change your life. I think because we kind of put a lot of hard stipulations on ourselves sometimes, and then we start believing that we're not worthy of doing certain things, and it's simply not true. I do want to come to a halt, however, because we are about to transition over to our viewer spotlight or artist spotlight, which I'm super excited about. We got RB coming into the chat too, by the way. We got Jeff coming in. Bunch of just kind of a nice wave of friends all coming to hang out. So thank you all so much for joining us. We're about to jump in to our artist spotlight, which we are going to switch over to in just a moment. If you give us a second here. Oh, I got you. Hold on. Let me do this. Here we go. Okay.
Anybody that's watching, I'm breaking all the technology today.
Alrighty. There we go. Okay.
Alrighty.
Cool beans.
Yay!
All right. So we are going to be spotlighting our friend in the chat, Ryan Marsh. And do you want to take the reins just a little bit here and kind of tell us a little bit about, because I know that you know Ryan.
I would love to.
Yes. So please give us the down.
So we have Ryan Marsh, and I even have my Ryan Marsh mug with me today.
Ooh, can we see? I love it. Very fancy.
So on that note, you can check out on his website. He does have an Etsy shop, but you can go through his portfolio. And it's funny because I know exactly like which point we kind of became friends. And there's a project in his Behance that was like an album challenge for the Pre-Release channel. But his shop.
There we go. Nice. Yeah, this is cool.
Right? Just like
this
so
is
fun.
Awesome.
Lots of patterns.
I love it. It's all very cheeky and funny.
Right?
Yes.
And this is how Ryan, it matches Ryan's personality, I feel like. Very colorful, very, very clean artwork. All right, so now we're back on his Behance. Yeah. I love it. Me and Ryan have interacted for about over a year now. We've known each other, and it was through an Illustrator challenge that I really remember in my head him standing out. And it's the Alicia one.
Oh, this one
right there.
Yeah,
and the Illustrator pre-release had asked us to do, an album art challenge.
Ooh.
And I just loved his bold use of color.
Yeah.
Like that is always what jumped out to me. And just like that. I like white space.
Boom. Yeah.
It's so beautifully clean. It's like, it's fantastic.
I love it.
But you can kind of scroll through he just has such fun patterns. He live streams sometimes, and he's just a genuinely lovely human being.
Well, we have had just a blast kind of chatting with him in the chat these past few days. He's been hilarious. He's been he's been an absolute joy to have around. It's been wonderful kind of meeting you, and now it's great just to get to kind of peek at your art, Ryan. So this is wonderful. Yeah, these colors are so good. Also, I'm an Alicia Keys fan, so
that didn't hurt me either. Ryan's a music fan. We talk lots of music often. So
yeah, this is really great. Let's jump into another one, because let's see, what would you, I'm kind of feeling that donut one.
I'd go for it. And we also have Jack Watson, I think, still in the chat, so I know she'll be happy to look at donut patterns too, because I think of I
associate Jack and donuts definitely together.
Jack's actually kind of in my neck of the woods, and I can say that she has recommended great donut shops.
Ooh.
And I've been my boyfriend's been more grateful for it than me, but it's like, hey, I want to surprise him. Can you recommend any great donut shops?
Amazing. This is like the thing that's really catching my eye here, not only does because this is like a, an Illustrator project. One of the things that stands out to me in this is, number one, the different layers of the green frosting underneath there that builds up, that really gives it dimension. And also this kind of chocolate drizzle that's on here. I can very clearly see that this has been kind of worked to really shape around like a 3D donut. And then it's got these great highlights here that even bring it, like, kind of pop it up out of the canvas even more. This is great. This is awesome. Oh man. Oh cool, we get to see I love seeing the outlines.
And that is one of my other favorite things about, it's not just what Ryan creates, it's how he presents the things he creates. Yes. Like the first time I kind of saw him, I'm like, I want my stuff to look like this.
This is a beautiful presentation. It really is.
And they're always like that, just well thought out, well detailed, like all possible applications. You can tell when you look at Ryan's stuff that he's somebody that pays attention to the details. And I think as a creative, that's a really strong talent to have, where you can see every possible application. You can see outside the box. Like you cover all your bases.
Yeah, this is just awesome. He literally didn't miss a thing. This is amazing. Everything's in there, and it's all organized perfectly so that I can actually take it in. Yeah. Instead of just being a little lost in a sea of information, I feel like I really saw everything.
Let's see. Scroll down a little bit more. Let me see.
Let's see.
Oh, you know what? I just love the little, I still can't say it right. I keep asking him. One, I like the beluga. I also like the tapir, which is one more row up. It's tapir. The little tap. Yeah. That guy.
This right here. Should we?
I just think it's so cute. Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Like, look at him. I don't have it.
No.
Really close, but I have a mug with him on it too.
Really?
Yes. I just think he's
precious. Cute. Hello, darling. You're so cute.
Taper.
I think it's taper.
Taper.
Yeah.
I knew as soon as I saw it, it'd remind me to say it.
My mouth's tapered shut about how old you are. Oh no, it's so cute. I love this pattern.
Right?
Like, this pattern would even be great just like as a print, like just that right there.
Own.
Or as a pillow, or like just excellent textile pattern. This is great.
All right. See, it's just always so.
Oh my God.
When I need inspiration on how to lay something out, like I go look at Ryan's stuff.
Yeah, this is so good. I love it. And then maybe I do really like the blue. Is there any is there one, Ryan, that you're really proud of that we haven't looked at that you would love for us to showcase? Possibly.
Ryan's like,
I'd love to be able to show off one that he really liked.
Jess, he's gonna be like, Jess, you threw me off a cliff again.
Beyonce alternative album artwork. I might pick this up.
Val, you're like, I got mine already. Never mind.
This, yeah. A mix of client and shop illustration projects. Yeah, I'd love to know. I'm gonna click into the Beyonce one, and then you can let us know, Ryan, if you've got one that you really love. Because ooh,
right?
Ooh, yes,
so many mock-ups. Just like.
Yes,
I love it.
Cool. So funny thing about Beyonce, there's a lot of people that I've met through streaming that like to, there's a lot of pun masters here in the chat. There's a lot of dad jokers here in the chat and all this stuff. I finally found a joke that silences all of the puns and the dad jokes and all the stuff that people throw at me. Yeah. It's
Now I'm kind of curious.
I just call Beyonce Yance Yance. I'm like, you listen to Yance Yance? I love Yance Yance. People are like, no, what are you doing? Like, you don't listen to Yance Yance? I love Yance Yance. It's so awesome. So that just reminded me of that. I know that's like sort of unrelated, but there's some strange Beyonce joke trivia for you. The most recent one, Ryan says, the most recent one, design customer, I did some branded stuff. Okay, let's see. The level up and light up one.
Yeah.
Let's.
One. The planner is cool too. All of this stuff. We could sit here for a while.
Yeah. This will probably be the last one because we do want to jump back in and do our wrap up, but this is, yes. Okay, so I love how the logo looks next to this typeface. Is this Montserrat Black? I don't know. I'm not sure.
I wonder if it is.
But I love it. Gosh, look at the layout. Look at the just how the arrows.
It's beautiful.
I am.
There's Ryan.
That's Ryan. Hi, Ryan. Oh, look, he's got the cup, the beluga cup. I love it.
See, perfect. I'm telling you, just like anybody need any inspiration for this kind of stuff, just spend some time in his portfolio because that's where I get mine.
Yes, I love this. Are you saying yep that one, Ryan, to this is the project you meant, or I got the font right?
Probably both.
I don't know. Let's see. I kind of want to know if I was like Arial Black. Nope, I'm wrong. I'm wrong.
That's all right. You're human.
I was like, was I cool enough to guess a font?
Apparently I appreciate your humanness.
That was so cool. Just like this wall.
Oh, wow.
Ryan. This is awesome. You got, there's a phone case. What? There's that looks nice. Excellent work. Excellent work. Everyone, please go follow Ryan. You will not regret it. This was an excellent experience being to take a look at your work, but we are going to pop back over to our art over here and get everything going again with Jess's work before we.
I was facing my fears. While we were looking at Ryan's stuff.
Yes.
Trying to.
All right, let me make sure I have my chat pulled up again. Because I don't see it and I want to make sure I can read everybody's comments. There you are, chat. Okay. So yeah, we have about 14 minutes, I would say, left before we have to take out, maybe less than that actually. No, maybe about 14 minutes. We are working on our person.
We're down to that line. We
are doing it though. You were not joking when you were like, we're gonna get to it, and I was like, okay. I was thinking in my head, if you don't, it's okay, because you can always work on it later and post it, but you are serious. So we are doing it right now.
I will tell you, it's definitely not going to be at the finish point in my brain. That's okay. That's okay. I'm sure Adobe will still let me talk to you guys sometimes.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Yes.
Keep me, please.
Absolutely. No, that actually happens more often than you think. A lot of people, they start, projects here on Adobe Live, and then they say, for finished version, I will post to Behance. So follow me on Instagram. This is a great time.
Awesome.
Please follow Jess on Behance. Check her out and follow her. Where's the best place to follow you?
Instagram and Behance.
Okay, Instagram and Behance. So definitely give Jess a follow in those two places, because when she is finished with this, you guys can check out the final version.
It will definitely be there. And Ryan Selvey at Adobe has been helping me for quite some time to try and conquer my fears.
Ryan Selvey is fabulous.
He is. I think we're really finally at the point, Ryan, if you ever watch this, okay, I'm finally going to live stream by myself. So that'll be coming too.
Hey.
We're going to do it.
I'm so excited. I will be there. I will be there.
Yes. I'm going to be like, so I'm I'm live streaming this day. Want to just join me?
Do you want to? Yeah,
I would come hang out.
Heck yeah, I would jump in.
Right.
Stream with you.
All right. I'm down.
Absolutely.
I'm down with that. You'll hang out.
You heard
but
it
that
here,
does
folks.
actually make me feel better too, because I haven't really seen a lot of live streams that didn't finish. And for me, I did this last year. If you search it on Behance, you can find out. I actually did one for Photoshop on iPad and one for Fresco.
Nice.
So I did a project each day. And the first day I could have done the project for 2 days. But I, pushed it through. And then the second day, it was kind of like I should have worked longer.
Oh yeah.
So that
happens sometimes.
There's a balance. And today, that's why I'm like, oh, we're doing this person at least. We're gonna give her some hair before we go. Give a little bit of color.
I love how the legs look, like with the gradient, like over to the side, because I can really see the waist and the knee and like the ankle there. I love it. I'm digging it big time.
I somehow lost my earth at some point too. There we go. I was like, there's another shape down there. Yeah, so we're all right. We're doing good. I'm grateful for everyone for joining today and yesterday. And for you, Val.
Yeah. Ryan says, I remember when I did my first live stream and Jess came to the rescue to calm me down after I was an anxious wreck. That, I feel like Jess is probably really good at that because she's such a kind and caring, wonderful person. I can see that. Happening. I definitely can.
Don't tell too many people that. I got a reputation.
I got a reputation to uphold. Same here. If I appreciate that everybody's here hanging out with us, and I know we've had a pretty good time. But if you guys could keep up the facade that I am a Sith Lord, and I am a powerful dark force user, that would be great, because I do have a reputation to.
Do people not know that?
I'm Sith Lord Palpatine to a lot of people.
Okay, cool.
But
I just didn't know if I needed to like go find people and be like, this, right?
Yeah, no, you can. Yeah, I think most people know it. It's just like it's hard to keep up the facade because I'm secretly actually nice. It's really hard to be evil.
I try to tell people that. I'm like, no, I'm really a heartless.
Yeah,
person.
It's just not. But and then you try to be cool. Like, yeah, that's right. I'm dark, and then somebody's like, can you help me with my art? And you're like, yes, I can help you with anything. And then darn, don't you hate it when you're trying to be a supervillain and you just end up being super nice to everybody?
Kind of like Loki.
What would be your Darth name? I don't know what my Darth name would be. I'd have to actually think about that. I've done some thinking and I haven't thought of something that's not a joke that I would actually because
that disclaimer, you're like, that's not a joke.
Emperor Palpatine is like a joke name because it's like Palpatine, but
I see what you're doing with
I don't have like an actual Darth name yet.
All right. I expect an update.
Yeah.
When you figure that out.
I
need to know how to greet you.
I'll work on it. Absolutely. On Jess's page, it has a pro badge. How do you become pro? I don't know.
Pro badge on my Behance.
Let me see. Oh, do you mean like the feature banners up at the top? It looks like she's won some awards. Honestly.
Okay. The feature, if that's what we're referencing, here's one of the good things about posting work to Behance. When you post projects, you can actually go in and tag the programs you use to create your art. Mm-hmm. When you do this, and it's also good because they typically only check once. Mm-hmm. Make sure when you go to publish your project, there we go, I can say it. You tag the materials you use, you fill in your descriptions, because there are people at Behance that go through everything that is posted and they will choose to be featured. Mm-hmm. And it'll be featured on the website. And then as well as, if a project's, featured for Illustrator on iPad.
Nice.
If you go on your iPad and your Illustrator program, you can actually go and see all the people that have recently been featured, all their projects. So it's kind of like that little bit of extra work that in the long run, and we're talking about, I've put a few years in, that can lead to good opportunities. Like Adobe definitely, I feel like, looks for people to help, level up and support and celebrate.
Definitely.
And
they're like hunting for new people
all the time. Yeah.
To just say, here world, here is some beautiful art.
So and
like they're
so.
always supporting people.
So this is the part, you keep trying, you keep improving, you keep practicing, you keep working, and, show your work. Austin Kleon, if you're somewhere out there, I don't even know how to say his last name, but the author, he has a book called Show Your Work. That's actually a good place to start.
Awesome. Okay.
That's a really good book.
Let me see.
Quick, easy book to kind of go through.
I'm gonna Google that real quick just so that
Oh yeah, he's got
Austin
a couple.
Kleon, yeah.
Yep.
Kleon.
He's got like 3 books. They're short, kind of like I feel like they're more bite-sized kind of reading. Val, I know you're a book nerd like me, so
yes, absolutely.
It's a very kind of short read.
This is like kind of like that. So this one is good, but then I was telling you it's kind of the same length as that one I told you about called Eat That Frog.
Yes.
And that's the one that I've kind of mentioned it before, that Sam Peterson from here on Adobe suggested to me. So it looks
actually
like
in my wish list.
Is it really?
Yes, I added it after you told me about it.
Yes.
I'm always the type of person that, like, somebody sends me a book recommendation, I'm like, oh, I gotta go.
So
right
looks
now.
like there's 2 great books for all of you folks.
Yes.
Show Your Work by Austin Kleon, and let me figure out who wrote.
I can't remember.
That Frog. Eat That Frog by Brian Tracy. 21 Great Ways to Stop Procrastinating and Get More Done in Less Time. That was an excellent read. Honestly, I listened to the audiobook, and the audiobook was like 3.5 hours long, and I listened to it while I was sitting there doing my work. I just listened to it, and I sat down and did a project, and by the end of that book, I was like, I wouldn't say that like it, because people are like always like, read this book, it'll change your life, and sometimes that happens.
Sometimes it does.
It didn't, like, I wasn't like, you know what, my entire life is completely different after reading this book, but it definitely gave me some skills just in that short read that improved my workflow and my everyday life in some way from then on. It did.
Awesome.
So it's a great book.
And also, since we're almost down to the wire, I just remembered, I showed you guys how I did those halos. I haven't showed the shadows. I got to show the shadows real quick.
Yeah, let's do it. We got maybe 4 minutes before we got to take off.
How we're going to do this. Make this more easy to see. So I got my little circle. We're going to fill it into black. And then we're going to do the radial gradient again. I usually just stick with the radial. It's a little bit easier to go, because for stuff like this, I put them in a lot of places. So I have my darker spot. We are going to make this one transparent again, but we're going to turn it to black first, just so if there's any little halo, it's darker. So we've got a shadow. And can kind of play around with it, but for my more complex pieces, like the journey that I showed earlier today, it's all that extra like pop just comes from a little bit of shadows.
Oh, nice. And you just put it.
So
excellent.
I'm gonna copy you. We're gonna go see where we want to go next. Put one here.
That is so clever. That's super clever. I would never have thought to do that.
So you can use like your beginning gradients, but when you have that extra like level of shade, that's when it really starts popping. So you have like the top gradient, then you have a bottom gradient.
Yeah, that looks awesome.
So this is one of those moments where I'm looking and I'm thinking in my head and I'm like, I wanted to do those gradients on the whole thing. Yeah.
But we'll
simpler drawing next
time. Running out of time, but yeah.
You know, I just need to keep coming back on Adobe Live till I figure out what I can actually do in 4 hours.
Yeah, just practice, you know. So we do have like a minute left, so we are coming down to the wire. It has been an excellent time streaming with you.
You as well.
Are you we got Aswin in the chat asking if you were on ArtStation. Are you on ArtStation by chance?
I don't even know what ArtStation is, and now I need to know.
I'm on ArtStation, but I haven't updated ArtStation stuff in a really long time. I'm mostly my most up-to-date stuff is on my website and here on Behance. But yeah, we are taking off. Please give Jess a follow on Instagram and on Behance to keep track of her future projects, to take a look at this piece when it is finished, and just to hear that wonderful laugh, honestly, because it brings me joy. Jess, it's been an absolute pleasure, really, truly. It has been so much fun spending this time with you.
We'll need to do it again.
Absolutely. If not here, everyone. Then on our own channels, right? It's gonna happen. But yes, we do have to take off because I don't want to get cut off here. But thank you all so much. Please give Jess a follow.
Thank you, everyone. Bye.